Yo, what is up, guys? Joker bringing you another video for the 3.23 Affliction League. So, a couple of days ago, I made a poll going over should I max out my Tornado Shot character or start working on an armor stacker so I can showcase bossing and stuff like that, right? When I made this poll, I had completely forgotten that like 15% of the player base is Tornado Shot. So, quick TLDR, bows have only been good for like the past two leagues. Before that, no one really played bows, right? Because they just weren't strong enough. I think it was like either the past two or three leagues. No, that's the only viability that bows had, right? Previously, bows were notoriously bad, but before that, they were really good. So they did have a long period where just nobody played bow skills. So that's why it wasn't really in my mind that like everyone is playing bow skills right now because bow skills are fucking OP. Um, yeah, so like a couple of years ago, bow skills were like barely used, but a couple years before that, they were used a lot because it was still so strong. So, yeah, getting that out of the way. So I completely forgot about tornado shot being overused, but everyone decided pretty much almost unanimously that armor stacker is going to be more interesting, right? 78 to 28, that's like literally all but one person, I think, or something like that, one or two people. So I had to go ahead and do some research because last time I played Armor Stacker was back in 3.18 or something like that. It was literally years ago, right? So much has changed. And when I played in 3.18, I had dropped a mirror. So I needed something to invest all of that currency into. And Armor Stacker was the first thing that came to mind because or a stacker was something that was insanely busted, and I never got to take advantage of that. So when I saw there was an armor stacker that was essentially like an aura stacker, I wanted to go ahead and give it a shot. So I dumped that whole mirror into that build, and I think like a few hundred other divines, and it ended up being super fun, right? But that was forever ago, and a lot of things have changed, right? I right now don't have a disposable few hundred divines. Pretty sure Mage Blood it didn't exist when I did it the first time. So there's so many items that exist now that just didn't, right? So I think it's going to be a lot of fun going from like barrier of entry, like super budget armor stacker to kind of like an in-game armor stacker. So I had to do research and figure out how the fuck the what the fuck the barrier of entry is, right? How I would do that. And that's where I found Big Daddy. He made a wonderful series of videos here that breaks it down of how armor stacking works, like necessities, important stats, all of that. Shows that you can play it on like four different ascendancies, right? He breaks it down to a point where someone as stupid as me was able to understand it. Like he literally dumbs it down to a point where you're able to go ahead and understand and make an armor stacker, right? So here we have our armor stacker. It's a recycled chieftain. I was going to try to do something with the Molten Strike of Zenith, right? It was all right. I mean, it was good enough for me to get all of my ascendancies and everything and hit level 88 like prior to me stop playing the character. So it went very well, but the amount of investment that I would have had to put into it was more than I was comfortable at the time, right? So I'm like, you know what? At least I have a leveled up chieftain now in case I want to do anything else. Now, I am only level 88. Every other outline for a armor stacker that I have seen starts at level 96. So I am quite far away from like the normal recommended level, right? Um and I have about 100 divines in this so far. If we go ahead and we turn everything on, right, and we pop our grace, we have 666k armor, right? So not too shabby, but still not the best. If we hover over the gear, we'll see that it's all like I mean, obviously besides the uniques, so literally three things. It's all kind of trashy, right? So I definitely need to increase the quality of this gear. I just ran out of currency, right? And you can tell by my clusters as well, right? That I ran out of currency when I was building this character. I wanted to try to get just the bare minimum to make the character playable. And that's effectively what we've gotten. So, for a barrier of entry for an armor stacker, I would say you need at a minimum 90 divines, right? And let me just break it down real quick for you. So, this amulet itself is pretty much a necessity because it gives you a lot of aura effect. It gives you a lot of much needed stats. And most importantly, it gives you global defense, which is going to scale both your armor and your evasion, right? So obviously, I did not pay one divine for this. If we go ahead and click it, I paid 45 for mine, but I don't know if any of the 45 there's two. Actually no, these people probably stopped playing because 17 and 14 days ago. So there is probably, yeah, it's already gone up. It's already 50 divines as a bare minimum to even buy this amulet. On top of that, you are going to need at least two clusters that have 25% increased effect and introspection, right? Because we need the reservation efficiency. Otherwise, we won't be able to actually use our grace, right? As you can see, we have to pop in our flask anyways, but then we're able to go ahead and use it. And we're barely able to use it even with these. If we were missing even one node, we would not be able to because our reservation would just be too high and we just wouldn't be able to use the skill. So it would literally brick the build. So these are 5 div each, right? And obviously it's going to change in price. If you want like good stats on them, then it's going to be more expensive, right? Since these are that's why they're so cheap. Now, the other important thing is going to be stats. I have a brutal restraint, and I have a brutal restraint exclusively because I am dex starved. I have 160 dex. I need 159. I am literally at 1 point over the requirement to even I mean, yeah, 1 point over the requirement to use my aura, right? So technically I could lose like one dex, but that's literally it. And then the um the brutal restraint is going to vary in price. I paid like 6 div for it and it has 16% aura effect, right? I don't know how like the 3 and 4 div people, if those people will actually sell it to you or what. But yeah, so this was 4 div. No, it was 6 div. This was 5 div. This was 5 div, and this was 45 div, right? So you're already at 60 div, if I did that math right, without wait, let me do 45, 10. Yeah. You're pretty much at 60 div without buying anything else. Now, that being said, everything else is relatively cheap. except for 2120 volatility. This is like 5 div. That's not 2120 volatility. This is 2120 volatility. Yeah, it's 5 div. And then I want to say one of these other gyms was expensive. Was it the Smite itself? No, that's only 120. Oh, it was this, right? No. I could have swore one of these other gyms was actually a couple of divines. Oh, maybe everything was just like a divine. That's why I threw me off. Or it was like one of my auras was multiple divines. Oh, and power 4 is also extremely important, and that is like 6 divines on its own as well, right? So obviously we're already at over 70 div with the stuff that I have just shown. And as you saw, I only have what was it, 666k armor, which is funny but is also really bad for an armor stacker. If we pull over POB, right, we have 3.6 million damage, but it's not boss damage. We only have 2.4 mil boss damage, and like that's pseudo exaggerating a little bit. Like I'm always going to have rage because I do have enough armor to always have some rage, right? So that's why I have it so low. Shocking bosses with this amount of damage for 10%, probably not. It's probably going to be closer to 5, right? But still, 2.3 mil. 2.3 mil is still okay damage. I had the wrong node selected here, and instead of that, I needed to put on this one. As you can see, the difference from a 41k effective hit pool and giving me 9k more towards chaos. And the difference was this one, right? I read it wrong and I clicked the wrong thing. But I corrected it since, and now we're just that much tankier. Now, I only have 2k life, but as you can see, I am actually pretty tanky because that's just how the game works, right? When you get 90 res and you have a lot of armor, you're going to be able to survive a decent amount of stuff, right? And this is only 600k armor, right? This is a super low baby armor stacker. But I just wanted to go over all of that because this is where we're currently at. We have 2 divines and 64C. It is a little disingenuous to say that I am poor because I do have like 80 divs in sellable junk. And I say junk, but all of it is sellable, right? Like, even if we just look at this first page, bossing fragments, grand ichors, like, and then the nurse, raw divines, enlightened card, bossing fragments, like, and then 7 years bad luck, right? All this stuff would sell instantly pretty much if I did decide to sell it. So a little disingenuous to say I'm poor, but I am too lazy to actually sell all of that. That's why it's just sitting in my tabs. So where are we at? We're at about 2 divs and we need currency. So we're going to start the series with the old tried and true essence farm, right? Now, obviously, since this video is already 14 minutes, I am not going to be running the strategy in this video. That's going to obviously be the next one, but I just want to introduce the strategy and the character. So we obviously grabbed every essence thing, right? That's the easiest way you can put it. You just grab every essence thing besides these 2 nodes, because if you have an extra chance for a remnant of corruption, it'll go ahead and it'll corrupt the essence and it can brick your essence where it just makes them like shitty essence, right? And like, let's say, for example, if everything's like a tier lower and it gets corrupted with this, but it's still shitty, right? So you don't want these 2 points, but everything else you do. And we are going to be running this in white maps because as of right now, essence are actually fairly expensive, right? Like if we go here and let's say we have 60 of these, right? Let's say we have 60 essence. Can I type 60, please? It's going to go ahead and be 1 to 16. So 60 essence of literally any deafening is 15 to 16 to a divine. That is insanely good. On top of the fact that the corrupted essence are actually worth something, right? These are all like 5 to a divine. So that's our strategy. If you haven't ever seen it before, white map essence, we're going to run in, we're going to put essence on the map device, we're going to run in, we're going to kill the essence, we're going to grab the essence, and then we're going to convert all the essence up until deafening. That's literally the strategy. But that is pretty much it. Like I said, I'm not going to be running the strategy right now because it's already like a 16-minute video and I want to end it here before it gets too long. I just wanted to go ahead and explain the basics, explain the barrier of entry, everything I bought, initial costs, share POBs, and all of that, just in case anyone else wants to take a look and potentially try an armor stacker. So we're going to be farming these essence until we probably can afford a 6 link chest plate that has the armors increased by overcapped fire resistance, grasping mail, right? That's probably going to be my go-to. If not, I'm going to have to go ahead and do more research, rewatch Big Daddy's videos and see like how I upgrade the character from here, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with this and future content. And until next time, take care.